All right, awesome. So, yeah, what I was just saying was this is like the summer shred roadmap. So I think this will actually be kind of fire for you, Ryan, since I know it's been a minute since you locked in for the cut. So, yeah, we'll start with today. It's March 16th, right? And we got a couple weeks now until the end of March. So for this right here, especially if it's been a while since you've been on the cut or you kind of haven't been tracking for a while, this right here is our kind of our reset. So we really want to go and reset everything. So that includes our sleep, our diet, our training, all of that. And a question for you guys would be like, why do you think that reset is going to be the first step here? Like, what makes it so important, do you think?
Oh, no clue. Clueless.
No worries. All right. So basically, the reset is really important because it helps us establish that baseline. So we want to find out, like, if you're guessing about your calorie expenditure, right? And let's say we have 80% here of our calories, we would be we have a rough idea of what our 80% calories is, right? But this 20% right here, this is actually where you have the highest leverage point. So without doing the reset, you won't actually be able to tell where you stand, whether you're a little bit above, whether you're a little bit below here inside this range. Once we do the reset, you can actually pinpoint where you are in the range so that you can decide on your calories, what your daily expenditure is, how much intake you could have, all that kind of good stuff. So,
Mm.
yeah, basically, we would really be focused on in the next 2 weeks, right? You want to make it so that you know exactly where your calories are. So you're going to do this by kind of basing it off of those online calculators, right? Just like we did when we do a cut with the one-on-one, when we build that plan out together, you'd be doing exactly the same thing where you're going to calculate your TDEE, right? So TDEE stands for total daily energy expenditure. And so calculating this first gives you that rough benchmark on how much our calories are going in and how much are going out. And you can do this with the TDEEcalculator.com, like it's the standard one. You guys know that like calculator website that does kind of all the different calculators out there?
I think so.
Yeah. So like they do like what compound interest calculator, car loan calculators. They have the TD calculator. They have like every kind of calculator you could look for. So it's a pretty basic site. In fact, I might as well just show you guys here. So yeah, this calculator.net, that's what it was. Okay, so they do like every calculator, right? So this is like the same calculator we did during our onboarding, right? So you come in here and you're gonna basically input your TDEE. So your age, I'm gonna use myself as an example for you guys here. Height, update that, update your current weight. And then this it's not that important. You can put whatever because what this calculator does is it calculates your BMR as well as based on this. So I'll just do this to see, you can see the variation between just the generic calculator and what chat could give you, right, versus us actually knowing our own bodies. And then this variation here between the two BMR estimation formulas, it's not a significant difference, but I think that using the body fat one will give you a more precise number. It's a better starting point than just using this average Mifflin one. So in this case, we'll put what I am right now. And so we're going to go ahead and get a number here. So it estimates that my total daily energy expenditure is approximately 2850 calories per day. And this is based on the active one that we picked, right? Daily exercise or intense exercise 3 to 4 times per week. And then it's going to give us like, how much if you want to lose this much pounds per week, how much if you want to lose that much, et cetera, right? And then it'll also give you kind of your BMR based on it. So what we're going to use with this number, this is what the reset is all about, is we're going to take this number and we're basically going to use it as our baseline for our calorie tracking. So in my case, if I didn't know how much I burned every day, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to eat 2,800 calories for the next 10, I don't know, our next 7 to 10 days and see how our weight behaves. So this is super key because now you can see whether your body's actually at this number, below or under. I already know that this is a little low. So this number would actually see me have like a 0.5 pound per week weight loss probably. Um, because my actual maintenance calories is closer to 3,100. Now, that varies based on a lot of things like our step count and also our, sorry, she's all up on my computer. Based on our step count and our exercise, right, and our workouts. So that's why this is really important to have that baseline. Once we do the reset is where the fun begins. So bring us back in here. Let's say you did the 2 weeks here, right? So this is 2 weeks. You did the 2 weeks. You have your TDE calculated. So you got your number. Let's say that you figured out for math's sake, right? Okay, TDE is 3K. The reason you have to do this every time, even if you have done so already in the past, is because the number changes all the time. It changes based on your current body fat, your current muscle mass, your current habits, your daily movement, regardless of what you used to have or what you think it might be. The real world practice is what we're really focused on. So, any questions so far? No? No
Yeah.
worries? Okay. Yeah. Cool. So, great. Now we have our TDE at the end of March. So that's perfect. That gave us our 2 weeks. We locked in there. We got our TDE. So now is the start of April, and this is where we can really lock in. So depending on how aggressive you want to be with your cut, it depends on your goal, ultimately your goal, but we want to be realistic too, right? So I would say a maximum realistic weight loss goal is probably 2 pounds per week. Any more is not ideal because you're gonna really heavily risk losing muscle. And if you're going that fast, it's very likely that you're going to sacrifice a lot of muscle in the pursuit of shredding down as fast as possible. And muscle is way harder to build than losing fat is. So if you lose an extra pound or two of muscle, that could take you months to rebuild, whereas you could just wait like an extra week or two to lose that last little bit of fat, right? So that's like the big trade-off here. It's all about efficiency with our time, and you don't want to lose all the hard-earned muscle that you just built. So 2 pounds a week is that like maximum I would recommend. Um, Most people, industry suggests 0.5 to 1 pound per week. I think this is a very conservative rate. It's very realistic, but in my opinion, you're already feeling the effects of cutting if you're at this like 1 pound a week. So 1 or 2 pounds a week, you really don't see like you don't feel any different. You're just as hungry. You're just as meticulous with your tracking, and if you're executing correctly, you feel the same. So for me, I think a sweet spot is always that 1.5 pound range. It's just enough that you see fast progress, but not enough that you risk that muscle loss. So you would pick whatever you prefer, but let's say for the purposes of this hypothetical, we're going to pick that 1.5 pound per week. So from April now to May, that's 4 weeks. And then from May to the end of May, we have another 4 weeks. So this is a 4 week block, this is a 4 week block. And it is important to split it into blocks. And I will explain why right now. So when it comes to our cutting, right, especially if you are already on the lower end of body fat percentage. So in my case, right, if we're already at 14% at 174, right, this is the model that we're using here. If I'm already at 14% at 174, what will happen over this 4 week period at 1.5 pound per week, I'm going to be losing 6 pounds over 4 weeks. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So that means by the end of this right here, I'm going to be 168. So that's pretty good, right? And based on this 14%, there is a way to calculate your lean muscle mass based on these two numbers. Essentially, what we're doing though is that at this point, out of the 6 pounds that we just lost, we can confidently say about 4 pounds is guaranteed fat, and then we have about 1 pound of water. I should have wrote this a little higher. 1 pound of water and then we're gonna have 1 pound of muscle. Now you might say, oh, that's really bad, right? Why did that 1 pound of muscle right there? That takes you a whole month to build. Why not take this a little bit slower and go for the lower rate? And so this is the key here. This muscle loss that we lose initially, it is not permanent. It's a temporary loss if you catch it in time. And I'll explain more why. So every time you are cutting, you're effectively depleting your glycogen stores. So when you have less calories coming in, especially carbohydrates, you're reducing the amount of glycogen that's made available to your muscles. This is absolutely essential for our body to actually tap into our fat stores, turn the fat into simple carbs, and then metabolize it into our bloodstream and burn it off. Now, in the process, you're going to reduce the stores in your muscles because you're in a deficit. You're not actually replenishing your muscles to that 100% power every single day. So, let's say you start at 110% glycogen stores at the start of the cut. By week 2, you might be at 90%. By week 4, you're really looking at that like 60, 70%, even when you're keeping your carbs high, hitting your bare minimum fats, and hitting your protein goal. If you do it even more aggressively and kind of incorrectly, basically, if you incorrectly cut and you just like go no carbs and you just tank everything, your glycogen can go from 100 to like 20% within a couple of weeks. It's very, very easy to ruin your muscle, and this number would be a lot closer to like 3, maybe even 4 pounds, which is why sometimes when you see some guys cut really aggressively, they shrivel up, right? They don't maintain the muscle. They just, everything gets smaller, and that's not what we want, right? We want just the fat to come off. So right here in this 4-week area, right? After 4 weeks, it is absolutely key. If you have not, if you've been perfectly on diet for 4 weeks, which you don't have to, but if you have been, you have to take a refeed. Okay, so this would be like a weekend where you go to eat all you can eat, KBBQ, sushi, I don't know, have a full pizza, crush 10 tacos, I don't know, whatever you prefer. You need to do this if you've been perfect on your diet. And the reason for this is in this spot right here, okay? This is going to be the key area. Let me erase a little bit so we can have a little bit more to see here. In this spot right here, at the 4-week mark, okay, what we're going to have is that refeed. And effectively, what you're going to see when you refeed is that you're going to add like 2 pounds probably, right? Maybe even like 3 or 4 pounds. Now, that might be very counterintuitive because we just lost I just lost all of this. Now I'm just adding it right back. So this is why did I just cut for 4 weeks? But what you notice is that this is going to come off within like 2 days. So in this range of 2 to 4 pounds, what you're going to see is that about 75% of it is going to disappear after day 1, right? Going back onto the diet here, back onto our deficit. Within day 1, you'll see like 75% of this just drop off. And the reason for that is that most of it is water weight and food, just passing through our system. So that's no problem at all. This last 25%, right? You actually want that to stay. It's like, this is great. This is good. We want that last pound, basically. Because what that last pound is it's replenishing. That was a really bad error. It's replenishing this right here. It's replenishing your glycogen stores that you've just depleted over the past month. So you're literally bringing your muscle back to full after 4 weeks of intense cutting. And now you can go right back into the intense cut and you can lose another 6 pounds. And at this point, you're like, especially if you're starting at like a 14, 174, here at our 168, this is like less than 12%. Okay, this is like already full 6-pack, shoulder veins, all that good stuff. At this number, you're approaching like single digit. Like this is probably 9%, and you're starting to have like every single striation, every ab come out. And any lower is bodybuilding prep. Like you're gonna go step on stage, and we don't really need that, right? The sweet spot for us is this 12 to 9%. we want to live life in that area because it gives you ultimate flexibility. It lets you have an aesthetic physique. It lets you be nimble. It helps you just do everything at that good spot without feeling like your energy levels are low, without tanking our testosterone. So 9 to 12 is our sweet spot. So in this example, as you can tell, it's very quick, right? That's why the cut that I just started a week ago, now that I'm healthy again, you guys will see the physique change within the next 4 to 6 weeks very quickly. That's because the starting base was so good. Now, the key here, okay, is that this refeed is only necessary if you're actually locked in, right? So when we say lock-in mode, I mean like lock-in mode. This is like you are always within like 1 to 200 calories every day. So that doesn't mean you can't have a cookie, you can't have a donut, you can't have ice cream every single day. But that means you actually need to be on top of it every single day. So if you do, let's say, 6 days locked in and you go out on Saturday with your friends, have some good food, whatever, nothing wrong with that. You can do that. You can still lose weight. You can still hit this 1.5 pound per week number, but you don't need the refeed anymore because you're effectively refeeding each week incrementally. So a big trap that happens is you aren't like perfect and fully locked in every single day, and then you have cheat meals on top of your natural life. And what happens when you have that? You do actually effectively bring back this 75% because your muscles are already replenished from the week, whatever surpluses. Now your body goes, oh, well, I have extra glycogen in my muscles and I'm not using it. So that means I have enough energy to store again because what if I go back into the deficit, which you are? Well, I need to have muscle or fat to burn so that way I can keep my muscles going. So your body can't tell whether it's you're cutting or bulking or being in a surplus or having a cheat meal. It doesn't know what that is. All it knows is calories in and calories out. So every time it has a significant surplus, it's going to first replenish your muscle. That's the very first thing it's going to do, right? Because this is absolutely crucial for your day-to-day function. But once the muscle is replenished, and if there's any extra, it's going to go right back to fat because fat is actually a good thing, evolutionary, right? If you are more likely to store fat, you have a better likelihood of surviving if your food intake ever drops. So we don't want to do these refeeds if we aren't actually perfectly locked in. Any questions on the refeed process?
Man, this is all like learning a new language for me, though.
I know. I'm back in high school.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I could like if you have a question on something, go ahead, ask it. I will clarify. Like, what's the most confusing part so far?
The the refeed, honestly.
Okay, the refeed. All right, let's dive back into that. So, does this refeed timing make sense? Like, you do it at the end of 4 weeks. Does
Yeah,
that
it's
make
like
sense?
it's like you deplete yourself of like
Mhm.
all the usual food that you eat or whatever, and then you have that one single day where you just eat a whole bunch of stuff, and then
Yeah,
uh,
so it's actually
right
not
after that, just quit.
even. Yeah, it's not even just one day. Usually, you want it to be multiple days.
Okay.
Um, because you don't want to eat like I don't know 20 donuts one day and then go right back into the deficit tomorrow. You'd
Mm.
want to do like 10 donuts one day and then maybe 5 donuts a day after, 3 donuts a day after, and then 2 donuts and then back to the deficit.
Okay,
Does
so
that
it's
make
like
sense?
yeah,
So you wouldn't because let's say like we're in a graph, okay? Hopefully the graph is good. So let's say this is your deficit, right? This is where you are. And then let's say right here, you're gonna go and have your refeed. So this is calories on this side here, okay? So this is how many calories you're having. And then refeed, you're gonna have a bunch, right? You
right.
wouldn't want your body, because your body's not gonna really understand if you just tank right back down and go like that.
Yeah, so you just want to
That's really sharp,
gradually
right?
decrease it.
So
Mm.
it won't let it actually fill back up on your glycogen. So instead, you'd want to go like, oh, okay, let's go like right here, and then let's go like right here, and then let's go back to the deficit. And so now when we draw it, you see it's like a nice steady back into it. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
So you would want to do this every transition from bulk to cut as well, or cut to bulk. Like whenever you transition from whenever your calorie intake shifts significantly, you always want to have a ramp on and a ramp off. So like this strat right here where we're spiking it, that is specifically for refeeding, right? If you were going from a cut to a bulk because you got your desired body fat percentage, you wouldn't want to spike it like this. So that's like a little side note there. But does that make sense so far now? What we're doing when we refeed, the actual idea
Yes.
of a refeed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Don't
So
cold turkey it.
but notice that this is like can't write. So notice that this is like 3 days worth, right? You don't want it to be way longer than that because then your body it loses all insulin sensitivity after day 2 or 3. So like at this point is when you notice how like 3 days in and we're right back on. So if you know it's going to be a little harder to like go right back on if you have multiple days, it's better to do like 2 days and get right back on than it is to do like a little longer and then you might not want to get back on, right? So yeah, that's our actually what refeed is. And now we can go into the end goal. Okay, so this is really important too. A lot of times the end goal, right? You get to the finish line, you're in June, and you think, okay, wonderful, I am at my desired physique, or I'm close to where I want to be. What now? Do I just like keep cutting? Do I stop and just start bulking? What do you do? So this is the sweet spot that we want to be at, but it's also confusing, right? Especially if you did lock in for another set of 4 weeks, you are effectively down 12 pounds here, or more, because you probably will lose a little bit of water at the very start. So like I guess I forgot to mention that at the very start, when you do this, when you go from maintenance to the actual cut, you will notice that you might lose like anywhere from 3 to 5 pounds of water weight. So this is really good, and you're gonna want to see it. If you don't see it, that means your maintenance was probably a little under, which is fine. But that just means you kind of like slowly lost the water during maintenance, and that's okay. But you'll see like 3 to 5 pounds of water within the first couple of days of actually being in a deficit. And that's good. So, this 12 pounds here, I'm referring specifically to like tissue. So much less of like actual water. So yeah, so 12 pounds of tissue is significant, especially if it's fat. And assuming you didn't start even earlier, like a lot of guys right now have already been in the process of cutting, even just 12 pounds, that's enough to shift your body fat percentage by a few percent, if not more. And so as you come into this finish line here, or you maybe even try and take it even further, have your finish line set in July. Let's say you did another six pounds across the month of June, and now you're basically 20 pounds of fat, pure fat, down by July. What you do here actually makes a huge difference on whether you can maintain the new body fat and new body composition. Because a lot of times you might be wondering, okay, so do I keep cutting? If you keep cutting, right, all right, so we have 3 options effectively. Number 1 is keep cutting. So cut. So if you keep cutting, you're gonna experience fatigue. You're gonna kind of hate your life at this point, right? Anything over, I'd say, a 3-month cut, especially when it's aggressive and focused, is unnecessary and it's too much, right? Mentally, you're just gonna be tired of it. So you have fatigue. You will also see a huge drop in performance. So this is gonna be a drop in the gym performance. So you're really gonna tank. Like you're gonna feel tired all the time. You're gonna have poor quality sleep. You're just gonna all around feel kind of sucky. And this is because you've kept your body in a deficit for too long. If you have done the refeeds at each point, you will actually you could feel fine actually. But even after like a third refeed, you probably will still feel way worse than like the first or second refeeds. And the reason for this is just because the reason it's a deficit inherently is because you're taking in less calories than you expend. So at a certain point, you are constantly playing like catch up, and that does eventually stack over the many, many days that we're doing this. So you'll have that drop in gym performance, you'll have that worse sleep, you'll have more irritability possibly. Your hormone level should be okay as long as you maintain that 50 to 60 grams of fat that we always really emphasize. But it's not always um, an exact number because every guy differs. Some guys need 70, some guys only need 40. You do have to kind of experiment to know your own body, but a good safe point is 50 to 60. But you probably will see like a little bit of a lower energy level, like energy low. Like it's just at this point, continuing to cut as much as you might want to is actually going to hurt. But here's a disclaimer: this is only if you actually like followed every single process throughout the 3 months. So if you went on like a quick vacation for a week and you were a little bit more flexible with your dieting, no problem. That's fine. We enjoy life, still lose our fat, but you won't have a lot of these side effects. You also will not have maintained the deficit. You'll effectively have like a refeed week. And this is like a bigger reason why as people go through the holidays, they almost give up is because you go to the holidays, you have lots like Thanksgiving dinners, you have Christmas dinners, and those are literally refeeds like built into life, basically. So if you cut through those and then you go, oh, well, I'm at my 3 months, or it really is mental fatigue. You're kind of like, oh, I'm tired of cutting. And then you just stop cutting. You effectively reduce the amount of actual cutting that you did, and you see really slow progress. This is why some people, it takes them years to come down like 20, 30, 40 pounds, which is still good, but you can realistically do that in like 2 or 3 months, like pretty much everybody in the program, myself included, has done already. So having this like realistic expectation that this is only assuming that you've been perfectly focused for those 3 months. We have the other option that a lot of the gym bros go for, which is, oh, I'm going to jump straight into the bulk. I'm tired of feeling small. I don't have good energy. I want to get my strength back. So what this is going to do is the exact same thing, but opposite, right? So this is going to introduce a lot of mental fatigue instantly because your body is literally not able to handle the double the food because you're going from deficit to surplus. So not only are you recapping all of that 500, 700 calorie difference, now you're trying to add another 500, 700 calories. So you literally double your intake. And by doing this, this is its own kind of fatigue. Your stomach does grow and shrink based on how much you eat. It is literally going to suffer trying to eat a lot more. So that's why people really struggle. And this is specifically when it comes to whole foods. It's easy to eat a lot of junk food. But if you try and eat like 3,500 calories of rice, chicken, and beef, you're gonna struggle, and that's brutal. You will also actually see a huge drop in performance in the gym as well. And you'll notice these are the same exact symptoms. This is not because, oh, I don't have enough glycogen. Instead, your blood sugar is going to just skyrocket. And it almost does like the opposite effect. Instead of having not enough glycogen, you're almost too much. So your body is like weighed down by the extreme influx of calories, nutrients, and a lot of times the digestion is not ready to support it. When you're not digested, your body literally cannot use the things and nutrients that it's taking in. You're not going to be able to perform in the gym as well. And then in a similar way, your energy will be unpredictable. So energy fluctuates. So this is the one thing where it's a little bit different. Naturally, by eating more, you won't have like low energy. You'll feel full. You'll feel like you have the energy to do stuff, but you'll have constant spiking and crashing because your body's not able to handle all of the influx. And so these are our two traditional options. The option that we always do is a short maintenance. So regardless of whether you want to continue to cut or move into a bulk, you do a maintenance. And this maintenance is anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. It really depends on your personal preference It also depends on your lifestyle and what's going on in life, right? If you know you want to enjoy summer for the 3 months, maintain for 3 months, no big deal. If you want to get even leaner as summer goes on, maintain for 2, 3 weeks and then continue the cut. But the key here is we want to maintain. And so with this maintenance, this is natural, right? You eat what you need, and then you don't eat more, you don't eat less. You focus on your protein goal. So all you do here is there's no fatigue, right? You don't have to think. You get to relax. This is good. Relaxation, lower the cortisol. This is really important. You're gonna see a huge improvement in the gym. So this is gonna be gym is fun again. Gym is fun, and this is because you're going to get those glycogen stores replenished like you would if you did a refeed, but you're not going to be super full. You're not going to struggle. You're not going to be bloated. You're not going to have issues with digestion. And so you're going to have the energy to perform without being weighed down, and then your energy will be stable. So this is going to stabilize your energy. And this is really nice because that means whether it is morning, nighttime, whatever it is, you're going to feel like you have a stable energy base because your body is taking this really efficient energy burning during the cut, and it's transitioning that into maintenance where you have more room to play, where it doesn't have to be so efficient. So it's going to be like, oh, well, I'm supposed to tap into fat stores, but I actually have a little bit more glycogen going in. So what it's going to do is it's able to basically pull a little bit of fat, burn it whenever your blood sugar kind of dips down. And so what that means is your blood sugar is always going to sit in this. I realize I shouldn't use my hand. Your blood sugar fluctuates, right, on a daily basis, hourly basis rather. So like if this is blood sugar, and this is like the day, right, the hours of the day. So normally a lot of the times like you wake up and then you eat breakfast, so blood sugar goes up. And then you wait till lunch, you eat lunch, blood sugar goes up again. And then this is where everybody tanks usually, right? Especially in an office environment, blood sugar just crashes. Now, the types of food you eat helps with your blood sugar a lot. And then dinner comes. So then spike up. A lot of people eat a big dinner. And then you go to bed before you notice the blood sugar drop. So notice like in this gap here, when you wake up, your blood sugar is way lower. Now, for those who skip breakfast, this is even like more extreme when you jump into lunch. And then you see how that like is a huge difference.
That's me, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like the struggle that everybody has after lunch, right? This is snooze o'clock over here at like 2 p.m. in corporate hour. So the way that the maintenance calories here, right, when we're doing this after the cut really helps is, let me grab a different color so we can see here. So you're going to have similar things here. You will actually notice that your body is not as tired in the mornings when you're cutting. If anything, you wake up feeling like almost kind of wired. And this is because, we'll start from the back here. When you have dinner, it's a little smaller, right? So you're going to come down a little bit lower. You're going to go to bed. So, I mean, I guess there's really not that much to draw here because you don't spike as high. So the come down isn't as high either. And then you wake up and you're already at this level. So you're kind of like a level base. And then, right, because we're now at maintenance, even if you don't have breakfast, let's take out breakfast, right? Let's say you don't even have breakfast. If you have a normal amount of food, right, you're going to come down into here. And instead of it just tanking like this, which is very traditional, what you're going to see is that because your body's so used to having burnt fat to slowly release the energy, you're going to come up, but then it's going to kind of like slowly level out until dinner. And you're not going to have this tank at all. And the reason for that is your blood sugar is going to spike a little bit going into lunch, right? And then after lunch, you're going to see a little bit of a decline. But you're not going to feel this extreme amount because your body is still burning fat from the cut, right? Just because you went on maintenance the next the next day doesn't mean your body knows that. Again, right? Your body only knows what's coming in, what's going out. So it's still in the mindset of, oh, I need to synthesize all the fats in my body so that I have energy on a daily basis. So it's going to flow on a regular schedule, regular system. It's going to go, oh, well, normally I don't get much energy from lunch because I'm cutting, right? My intake is low. So that means I got to release fats right about this time period. And when you do that, what that does is it enables your blood sugar to go through your body. It enables you to carry all the carbs you just had from lunch to everything you need, while also still releasing more carbs into your bloodstream from the fat being synthesized. And all of a sudden, your blood sugar is stable because there's not too much leaving or entering. It's all just kind of coming in together. So this is the science behind why your energy remains stable. And so this is what we want to do. We want to maintain regardless of whether we're cutting or bulking right here after we're in that like sweet spot. Once you do that, that's where this whole July and beyond comes in. So from here, you can pick the bulk, you can pick the cut, you can do your maintain if you want to enjoy summer at the same physique. From there, it's kind of a, well, do you want more muscle mass? Do you want to get even leaner? Do you want to do a little bit of both? That's where this maintain becomes even more powerful. But that's a presentation for another time. So I will leave it at that. So any questions there for our summer shred roadmap and kind of the basics there?